Okay, looking good. Hello and welcome back to Ancient Gaming. I'm Zilla, and this is my Twitch channel. Today we're doing something special. I have been waiting for a physical copy of my favorite game, Heaven's Vault, to come in the mail, and here it is. So first we're going to start with the unboxing, and then if I can figure out how to Twitch properly, we're going to switch over to playing the game. And I have so much to talk about with this game. It's one of my favorite that I've ever played. We'll also have joining us today a very special guest, my friend and partner Tortoise, who will be talking, he'll be taking notes on some of the puzzle aspects and talking about that. So, without further ado, let's see what's in the box. Oh, feel free to say hi in chat if you're here. I am looking, and feel free to tell me if any piece of the video or audio isn't working right. Alright. I have no idea how unboxing videos usually work because I don't watch them, but I'm really excited about this. So, Heaven's Vault was released from a small indie game studio a few years ago. And they, as a special anniversary, decided to print through Strictly Limited, which is, you can see here, which is a game printing company out in Germany for specialty physical cartridges. So this is the Switch cartridge that is not necessary at all to play the game. But I like physical media. I feel like it's a little bit more permanent. A little bit less susceptible to the whims of major corporations. And they also put out a lot of swag. There are 2 novels set in this universe. I do already have them, so I didn't order them through this. We've got a nice big cartridge box. We have a Strictly Limited sticker, which will probably not be going on my pin scarf, but you know, I do appreciate stickers. So here is the game box. As you can see, I have the script on that's used in the game on the cover, which I adore. Oh, they have a specialty Heaven's Vault postcard. So this is another image from the game, and then it is the sort of collector's item. So let's see what's in the box. The game studio for this is Inkle, and they actually have a really great Discord. If you get into Heaven's Vault or any of their other games, I highly recommend it. The creator, John Ingold, is on there and occasionally pops his head in to chat with people. So let's get rid of this plastic covering and see what we've got. It's pretty tightly in there. Okay. So we have a Heaven's Vault bookmark, which one of my partners will be very happy for me to own a bookmark. I'm one of those people who likes to read until I fall asleep, and so the book just winds up face down on my bed. We have some artifact descriptions here, which will make a lot more sense if you see once you see the game. But these cards each have an artifact that you can find in game, the description that the main character gives of them, the writing that's etched on them, and then the options that you have for words. And says translate each word from column of choices and collaborate #Heaven's Vault. So can go be interactive with that. And looks like it says something else on the back. They're not all the same. So that'll be fun. I'll go look through those later. We have the full Heaven's Vault soundtrack, which is gorgeous. Full instrumentation. I love it. I love it to bits. Gonna be very happy about that. 21 full tracks. Original soundtrack by Lawrence Chapman. Oh, we have some Heaven's Vault stickers. The logo, the title, and then three things written in ancient, which I'll have to translate. But one of these might show up on my pin scarf because that is right up my alley. Oh, wow. So, this beautiful object with more writing, because everything in this game is more writing, has the full Heaven's Vault timeline, which will make more sense later as we play the game. Elia Elazra's journal, which is, it's actually a blank book for taking notes, I think. So it's got stories do not have tidy beginnings. The past is always present. A personal trademark of mine. But understanding is a fire, and it must begin with a spark. A moment of seeing through the surface of things. The new must be removed if what lies below is to be seen. Thus something must always be lost for what was lost to return to the light. Introduction to the Chronicles of Mazwai, translated by Juan Adolfi, who is a character in the game. And then, we have a bit of untranslated ancient at the bottom that is the end of the Chronicles of Mazwai. So someday, maybe we'll go through that. And then the rest is blank pages. And this I'm going to give to Tortoise so that he can take notes. And last, we have the actual Switch cartridge in its container. These cartridges are so big. I mean, not the cartridges. The cartridge packing is so big for such a tiny cartridge, is what I mean to say. It comes with, well, more ancient on the inside, because everything is more writing. Little Switch booklet with handy-dandy controls, story bit, characters and artwork, even some making of bits. Ooh. And of course, the cartridge itself. So without further ado, well, with a little further ado, because I'm going to have to go put this into my Switch, let's switch over to playing. If you would do the honors, please. I'm not going to taste the cartridge. Switch cartridges come coated in an unpleasant, bitter taste coating so that kids won't eat them because they're small, and of course my housemate has attempted to taste test cartridges. Okay, so I'm gonna need to do a little bit of futzing with the stream just to make sure that everything is right. Make sure that let's see if I can get this video over where we want it. Can you see? Yeah. So you can briefly see Freya there. I'll put it down for a second so you can see her. Well, it's pretty dark, but anyway. So you should be able to see Tortoise and okay. set up the game. All right. Okay. Let me just make sure the capture card has decided to work. It's gonna be a little weird for a second. Don't mind it. No. None of those are the thing I wanted it to do. What's up with Heaven's Vault? Okay, there we go. So. There. Oh no. Okay. There we go. So, first question, since I know I have somebody watching, can you hear the music? Is that coming through? No. Why are you not coming through? Oh, it's very quiet is all. Okay. Let me see. Did that actually make it louder? Not really. Okay. Hmm. Can you hear it now? Not really. Huh. Oh. Is it too loud now? Okay. How's that? Sorry for the adjusting, folks. Is it still too loud? My voice is now quiet. Okay, how's that? How we doing? Is this a better balance? Unfortunately, it's very hard to test when I have this many things going on and I am only just learning to stream. You'll have to forgive me. Okay, this is decent. Okay, Tortoise, can you test your mic, please?
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2.
You hear him? Very little sound on that mic. Okay, I can fix that. Try again, Tortoise.
Okay, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
How's that?
I can also adjust the sensitivity on my own microphone.
Still quieter than me. Don't adjust your microphone because I don't want it to pick up stuff that isn't you.
Alright.
Okay, so how's this?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Okay, great. Then let's get started because I am excited. Okay. I sail to the temple where the gods have gathered to gaze at their faces in deep pools. In my boat, the souls of the years sail with me. Book of the Dead, circa 1000 BCE. So this is a quoted translation of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, part of the inspiration for this game. I have at this point read some bits of interviews with the creator who said that a lot of his ideas for the language came from the way that Egyptian hieroglyphics work, with some major differences. It's its own thing. So let's dive in. So this game it's a very unique looking game. I really love the artwork. I really love the style of animation, but it is very stylized and it's not for everyone. Let's begin. You can just see the character and a robot coming up the hill.
The past is always present.
Quoting from the Book of Mazwai.
Something that brings the past to life.
Please climb carefully, she says. We have some options. I think you worry too much. So the robot was saying, please be careful. I mean, what am I going to do? Says our character. Fall? Take a moment to rest before you walk, mistress, please. Don't know what kind of mistress that is yet, but that seems a little ominous. So we have a bit of a stamina bar here. We're walking very slowly towards this beautiful statue. Well, we do have control of the camera a little bit. There's no prompt to examine it. A bricked up opening we can go examine. There is something here. To keep people out, do you think? Or to keep something in? And look at this architecture. There's something written here. There's something written here. Ancient script. This must have been cut in when the mortar was still wet, but I think I can read it. And so here we get to see how the game's main mechanic works. Heaven's Vaults. The title of the game, written in ancient. Oh, I guess we don't get to see that yet. Well, okay. The University of Iox, some weeks earlier. So, this is a game where we are playing an archaeologist, historian, epigrapher, who is going around and looking at inscriptions. So what is an epigrapher? So epigraphy comes from the Greek graphe, to write, and epi, upon. So an epigraph is something that is written upon something else. So the study of epigraphy is the study of inscriptions. And in this game, we are working primarily with epigraphy as our mechanic, but also some point and click. And that dialogue you were seeing, you do actually run out of time to choose a dialogue option, so I won't always be able to read everything.
And I'd like to comment on the epigraphy aspect from the sort of puzzle side. So, just for background, I am a puzzle constructor. And this game, uses a constructed language, sometimes known as a conlang. And when conlangs are used in puzzles, usually there's one of two things going on. Either it's very simplified, you only have a small vocabulary, or there is some context provided with the language. Maybe they're describing, it's like heraldry describing pictures on a flag or something. And so in this case, the inscriptions, the objects provide the context for.
And so this is much more like real-world epigraphy in that you aren't provided like a very small set. You have only what you encounter and what your character has already picked up. So we do start with a basis. This character has been doing this for some years before you start. And so you have some ideas and a small set of guesses. But as you go through, you learn more of the language and how it works. And honestly, this is one of the most fascinating conlangs I've ever seen. So let's see what's going on at the University of Iox.
My story begins on Iox. That was where I met the robot.
Mistress Aaliyah, says the robot. And notice how there are ramps built into everything. I've been waiting for you. I've been asked to escort you to Professor Mayari. She is very anxious for your arrival. I don't need an escort. She's my supervisor. I know where she is. Excellent. Then you'll be able to keep up. Did she say what she wanted? Yes. She said she wanted you. So why'd she send you? Did you do something wrong? That seems unlikely. My ethical core prevents me from serious error. And how are things here on Iox? Iox does not change, mistress, or so I am assured. The single point of stability within the nebula. This way, you should know that the professor's urgency was remarkable. Reply. Maybe we should keep her waiting. Don't want her making a habit of impatience. Cannot recommend that, mistress. Let's reply with a question. Have I got a promotion? Oh, wow, the snark is just... Look at her. She looks like a tiger in a cage. A most curious analogy. You understand I will be required to report it. Question? Required to? Of course. Professor Mayari is my primary user. Nevertheless, I will try to sugarcoat your opinion. Great. Good to know you've got my back. Shall we proceed? Question. Why is Mayari's room so far from everything? I imagine she enjoys her view of the tree, mistress. I imagine it's pleasing to her. Now we're out of conversational options. Let's take a look at the tree. They call it the tree of knowledge. Each branch goes more branches. Oh, and we can reply again. Except for the ones that die, fall off, and are forgotten, which is where we come in, I suppose. I went outside the university grounds once exploring. This is a very beautiful moon. You can tell it was once lush, fertile. There must have been huge forests, lakes, rivers, but they're all dry now. I suppose they cut down all the trees to make chairs or ships. So that's actually somewhat pointed if you know the game, because Aaliyah has a ship. One of only a few. So there are some things... Oh, we get more options if we wait. Alright, let's ask a question. What is your ethical core anyway? What good is it? It's what stopped me from pushing humans off cliffs, mistress. And is that something you want to do? It was simply an example, mistress. Were it to be convenient for me to do so, my core would prevent me. Okay. I'm going to open up this map, just so that we have a moment to talk. So, the university on Iox is pretty much it's the only area we can see, at least as far as I know. And we appear to be a grad student, and our supervisor has called us for something, and our relations seem to be fairly realistic for a grad student and supervisor, which is to say, professional but strained. That's not always the case, but let's go then.
I was 15 when my Ari rescued me from the slums of Elbereth and brought me here. I'd never seen such luxury or such kindness.
Let's
I
go
still don't
in.
know why she did it.
Professor Mayari. Aaliyah, there you are. Come in. You want the robot to wait outside? Why would I want that? Thank you, Professor, says the robot. It's good to see you again. Me or it, the robot. Really, Aaliyah, don't be so uncouth. Tell me what you need. Straight to business, very good. You're an expert on history. Tell me what you make of this. It's certainly old. Empire period. The device is the Eagle and Sun. One of the scholars sent this brooch to me. Janiki Renba. Do you know him? Did you know him? Look at the detail before I throw you out. I see them, ancient markings. I know they're a hobby of yours, but can you read them? So here we see the inscription. And I've never seen either of these groupings before, but the two words have some common elements, so they must have related meanings. Well, so this is how the mechanic works. You can see we get some clusters, and we can choose what of the options that Aaliyah thinks are plausible to put in. So some things to note about that conversation, we can gather some information about what it is that's studied here on Iox, or at least what isn't. So Aaliyah is a historian, but Miari does not sound like she shares that profession. And in particular, she said that studying the inscriptions was a hobby of Aaliyah's. So we can learn from this that Iox isn't interested in epigraphy, in understanding the words of the past in the same way that we might be in a classics department or an Egyptology department. So that's really kind of fascinating. Also, there's some tension about robots and how person they are. I was going to say sentient, but that's not quite the right word. Clearly they have personality, or we wouldn't have gotten things like, I'll try to sugarcoat it for you, right? But we're still getting it. Not he, not she, not they, but it. Okay, so about these words, Aaliyah said they have some common elements. And you can see that this this sort of swirl at the top with a leg is in both. In this one it's twice. There's a dot that's in both, and there is the swirl without the leg that's in both. Although there's something different between them here. So what elements might we think they have in common? So we have friend and beloved. That seems like a strange thing to combine. but holy and either of those words makes sense. So why don't we choose that? So if we think it's holy, then it's something that's above other people. So why don't we go ahead and say emperor? Now we don't know at this point whether these are phonemes or ideographs. So when you're talking about writing, each symbol can mean a sound, a phoneme, a set of phonemes, or it could mean a concept. Sometimes it can mean both. But we have no indication as of yet what we're looking at here.
I'd like to add that in the notes that I'm taking, I've sort of divided the notebook into 3 sections. The first section, I don't know if you can see this, but I have individual symbols that I've sort of extracted from the text so far. In the last section, I have inscriptions that we come across. And then in the middle, I'm going to write down words as we see them, although we'll soon see that words are not always clear.
So this is my guess. Let's go with it. Holy Emperor, but I'm only guessing. What's this about? Janiki told me he'd found something. That was over a month ago. Janiki isn't like you. He's an Ioxian through and through. You mean he's soft? We're such a jerk. Something persuaded him to go to Myrcy of all places. I can't go hunting the nebula, but you can. What do I get in return? Aaliyah, Janiki was my friend. Do you have any friend? Do you understand what that word means? But you still can't go yourself. You know, whenever you're away, I forget what a gutter rat you are. Wow. No wonder they have history. You could have left me on Elbereth 15 years ago. No, Aaliyah, I couldn't. But that doesn't matter now. You will find Janiki. Now get out of my office, you Elberethian rogue. You're taking the robot with you. Come on, robot. We're not welcome here. You are not welcome, mistress. Be seeing you, Aaliyah. We get these little prompts like, I annoyed Miari. How do you feel that went? It went fine. It went fine. And will we go to Myrcy, mistress? What do you think? Professor Mayari is my primary user. You might say I am biased. Have you been to Myrcy? No. Obviously, it's a moon of little importance, I believe. So why would this Renba go there? I have no idea. Renba was a roboticist. Myrcy has no robots as far as I'm aware. No robots. Sounds nice. Robots are very rare, mistress. Most of the nebula is not graced by our presence. Right, robots are so graceful. Well, can I just say, Mistress Aaliyah, it is wonderful to be accompanying you. Oh yes? Why is that? I find humans fascinating, and you are very different to most here. I've only recently been activated. I'm calling you Six, so now we have a robot name. I wonder if I got Miari's translation right. I think I did. The shape knows this is an Empire piece. Shows. So that's sort of confirming from context what we've guessed. The emperors believe themselves to be gods, so it makes sense that the word would be almost the same. So we've guessed correctly here. And those words are added to our dictionary. Still doesn't tell me, where did this thing come from? So we have some options, a person in Huang, a sculpture to talk about, we can walk other places. Let's talk about the sculpture. What do you think of the sculpture? It has a pleasing balance to it. I hate it. I've dug broken bedpans from the dirt that are more attractive. Yes, mistress. Ah, that wasn't as interesting as I hoped. So where did they find you, Six? Me, mistress? Like most robots on Iox, I was chipped carefully free from a concrete wall on the lower levels. Well, that tells us some things. You were buried down there? Indeed, I understand it to be not uncommon to find robots that way. We occur, I am told, like potatoes. Do you remember being down there? Trapped? No. I barely remember my activation. So the robots here are deliberately concealed. So Aaliyah doesn't want to go back that way. But Huang wants to see us. Hello, Huang. Didn't know you were back on Iox. Well, I'm not staying. I'm glad I caught you then. I've been reading all day. I just came outside to rest my eyes and there you were. What were you reading? The Annals again. Did you know, Mazwai claims the Holy Emperor was founded by 3 wolves racing to heaven. Each one tore the throat of the other and they fell to earth. Are you really interested? Is it really relevant to anything? It's only a story, but then stories change how we think. Tell me a story then. Alright, most people glaze over.
He continued to talk. I watched his mouth moving. I love old stories, but Wang has a way of telling them.
Aaliyah? That was fascinating. There's hundreds of volumes like that. Sometimes I think there are 3 stories to explain everything and none of them agree. Other times I think there's just one story that gets retold for every occasion. Do you know Janiki Renba? I know Renba, of course. Well, a little. Why? What sort of a man is he? He hasn't asked you to dinner, has he? What, you jealous, Wang? Oh, well, of course. He's fairly quiet, keeps to himself, likes his robots. He was a roboticist. One of the best, one of the few. Did you say was? Did something happen to Janiki? I don't know, Wang. I'm sure it's nothing bad. I don't know why she's sure of that. Oh my, before you go, it hardly seems important now, but I found a line of ancient in the Annals of Mazwai I thought you might like. If you have time, that is. I always have time for ancient. So here again we have a new line of ancient. It's broken into words for us. I know one of these words, I'll have to guess the other 2. So you can see that the first word is the same as emperor. Here we've translated it as empress with no necessary context. I don't know particularly why empress rather than emperor. And then she's got a decent handle on what some of these characters mean and no handle at all on what this one means. So let's see. This one we don't have anything like in our previous knowledge. So, but clearly Aaliyah knows that this is a verb and that it is either banished or buried. So it's some kind of negative. I I don't know, that story with the robots has me thinking. Stories shape how you think. Let's say buried. Oh, hey, and robots is one of our options, so let's try that. I think that's right. So an empress buried, the robot's here. That's quite a discovery, Wang. Maybe it is. Maybe you've read it wrong. I'd best not keep you. I hope you find him. Oh, right. Janiki. Shall we proceed to your ship now? Have you ever sailed before, Six? I have no idea. But I am keen to find out. And so we left the hollowed walls of the university. So here we take a look at our timeline, and we can jump around. We have a lot of different scales. You can see we can go from hours to days to years to centuries. We have a couple of things that we can look at here. So we can look for inscriptions. We only have the ones we've seen, but this will be useful later. And here's the map. So this is how we get around the nebula. Oh, there's Elbereth. Oops. Elbereth is my home. It's where I moor up when I want to sleep well, but not today. Professor Mayari wants me to sail to Mercy to look to... I want to zoom out. Nope, that's in. Out. Okay, so... We also have Mercy, a tiny rural moon where Janiki told Professor Mayari he was going, but why does he visit a rice farm? Then we have Renaki, a market moon far beyond the reach of Iox. Iox is kind of a central town. Well, shall we go see? My ship is my refuge. It's the only place that's truly mine. While we do this, I want to take a moment to talk about the architecture we were seeing on Iox. So we have a very flat construction, lots of right angles and sort of jutting out in a very modern way. But a lot of 8-pointed stars in the very sort of Star of Knowledge Islamic decoration style, and we can see that Aliyah is wearing a headscarf and a nose ring, which are pretty clear nods to cultures in sort of the Indian subcontinent or perhaps the Muslim world. So she's not white. Huzzah! I mean, her name kind of gives that away too. Aliyah, Miari, and Huang even further east. So, even though this game was written in English, it's actually based on a Near Eastern archaeologist. Not the personality necessarily, but just the sort of toughness and academic rigor. Journey to Mercy should be quick, mistress. I don't see why Mayari can't go herself. This is a waste of my time. I'm an archaeologist, not a search dog. As she told you, mistress, she's an important person. You are not. I'd rather go to Elbereth. Renba can last another day. I want to go home. Mistress Renba may be in urgent need. I'm an archaeologist. What do you want me to do? Time is a factor. You don't send me. Yet evidently the professor did. You think we should go? Naturally. I will prepare the ropes. Oh, I guess Six has sailed before. Ooh. So, evidently, when we say ship, we're looking at something that looks a lot like an actual sailing ship. But it can be piloted by just one person if Aaliyah usually has it just to herself. I also am just fascinated by the robot because apparently it not only has a personality, but it has a history that even it doesn't know. It was deactivated possibly for centuries, and then reactivated knowing nothing, remembering nothing. So, let's sail. Sailing to Maersi in the Verdant Pass.
Mayari wanted us to sail to Maersi. It was a short sail through fast waters.
You should go right momentarily, mistress. So you see, we're in a sort of stream out in the nebula. And we have options. I can actually sail the ship. On the surface it appears the same, but there are deeper currents below. I love sailing the ship. I don't really understand why it looks the way it looks, but there's something just very peaceful about this. Well, at least once you get the hang of it. It can be pretty frustrating when you're first learning. Unfortunately, I do seem to remember how. Now we see the green of the Verdant Pass. The river to the right should bring us to Maersi. So let's go to the right. This is your ship, mistress. What do you think? She's very beautiful, mistress. Cannot help wondering how you came by her. That's Maersi. You can see the greenery from here. Frenba's here. I need to find him. If he's not, I need to find out where he went.
We stepped off the ship and into the mud. Mud covered the ground and rock. And everywhere I looked, things were growing from the mud. And some of those things had legs.
She's probably never seen a pig before. Look at this place. Breathe the air. I cannot breathe, mistress. As you are, no doubt, aware. Well then, let's see where Remba's got to. If we're really lucky, he'll have found an old pot. So where do we start? There's a series of rice terraces. If we climb up away from the water, it should take us to the village. So, the pig is coming closer. So clearly Aaliyah is used to more desert conditions. Can you do a scan for Janiki or something? Mistress has mistaken me for a dog. Perhaps you believe if I had a scrap of clothing I could place his scent? Well, you're not much use then. I have exceptional visual acuity. If I see him, I'll let you know. You're not the first robot I've had trailing me, you know. Every time I break or lose one, they give me another. It's like they're trying to get rid of them. The university cares for your well-being, mistress. I don't know why Mayari wanted me to take you with me. Professor cares about your safety. I can handle myself. Nothing to say to that. So, lush green moon. A beautiful statue. I love these old moons with their ancient stories. Who's that, for instance? One of the old goddesses? She is guarding the fields. Evidently, over 1,500 years has passed since she was carved. You can tell. That's a long time. Relative to what, exactly? There used to be gods throughout the nebula, even on Iox, before the Empire was founded. I'm surprised Iox let this one stay. I've never understood Professor Mayari. You know, she brought me to Iox from an orphanage on Elbereth, and now she keeps giving me robots, and I keep losing them. I really don't know what she gets out of it. Perhaps she likes to be kind, mistress. Not to the robots, clearly. I'm not convinced. So, we have a little cottage over here. Maybe we can see some... Oh, there's something scratched there in the wood. The emblem of Iox. Moon is in the Iox Protectorate. Still a bit odd. Well, Janiki won't be hiding in there. That tithe barn is big. This moon produces a surplus for what good it does them. Can see why it's part of the Ioxian Empire, then. There's nothing more to interact with here, I guess. Oops. Run into a tree. There's no way I'm crossing that, mistress. Robots cannot swim. Robots can't swim. You can wait, can't you? My power source is good for millennia, mistress. Waiting will not be an issue. Patience, however, is more limited. Tell that to Mayari.
The air smelled earthy and sweet.
Where does all the water come from? There's a wellspring in the rock below us, mistress. The soil is permanently saturated by it. Rice. Do they grow anything else here? It would not appear so. Suppose there's nothing old here. No ruins, no ancient kings? Well, of course not. This is a farmyard. That is not how things work. Farmyards often contain ruins. I want to talk about the statue. Beautifully crafted. Ooh, there's an inscription. Symbols in ancient script. Might be able to translate them. So, holy something something. These glyphs remind me of the word for emperor. I don't know why. They've only got one little thing in common. I guess these ones. Yeah, these ones look kind of like emperor. Maybe... I mean, this is a goddess statue, apparently. And I bet that she's a water goddess. There's certainly plenty of water here. Just guarding their most precious resource, keeping it all fertile. What is a wellspring, anyway? A source, mistress, nothing more. But what is a wellspring? How does it work? Evidently, it is a source, mistress. It has no mechanism, as I understand it. Sure, buddy. In a world where everything is desert. Oh, I found a thing! Buried in the grass, a shard of crystal. Does it mean anything to you, Six? It is most curious. This moon does not contain any crystals of that type, but the brooch Master Renba gave her is of the same type. What kind of crystal is it? Iolite. Valueless. Perhaps we should return to the ship. Are the shards in the brooch enough to find him? Perhaps. Let's try the village first. Well, now I've looked at the oldest thing here, and clearly he left something for me to find. Hey, person, can I talk to you? A wellspring is a source of what? Commonly, water. Also, air. Okay, well, that didn't... Let's go up to the terraces. Looks like there is another hut to look at up there. Question. Where do things in the well come from? They come from the well, mistress. I do not understand the question. I'm actually not sure of the question myself. The pig is still following us. Oink oink. Oops, didn't mean to leave the bridge, but... There. A warehouse. Somebody crying? You? Do I know you? You are from Ajax, aren't you? I was born on Elbereth. But you are from Ajax. Have you met any Ajaxians? I recognize your voice, your accent. He told me you might come. Who did? My tall Ajaxian. He left something for you, with the goddess to keep it safe. So Janiki was here. Do you know where he went? I'm looking for him. He promised he would come back. I did so like to believe him. I hope you find him, Miss Miari. I'm not Miari. I have to go now. I don't want them to see me talking to you. Wait! What the heck, lady? It would seem someone from Ajax has visited here recently. Do you think there's more to be learned here, mistress? There must be something here. We need to talk to more people. Village center will be at the highest point to guard against flooding. Oh, a gleam in the grass. It is. A water-bearer goddess sculpture carved from gold. I guess it dates to the Holy Empire? Must have dropped here years ago. It's only been revealed by the irrigation of floods. It's the same statue as the goddess. There's an inscription on her head. Let's check it out. Is that a single word? Probably not, but ancient scribes didn't always trouble to put in their spaces. I don't think they expected their writing to be read. Now that is the truth, and very realistic. Often when we find inscriptions in Latin or ancient Greek, and I think always in Phoenician, cuneiform, the spaces just aren't a thing. The spaces just aren't a thing. They're a more recent addition to our orthography, our straight or plain or direct writing, so the way we write things. So we don't have a lot here.
I would also like to add one thing about the spaces. Is
Could you come closer
oh,
to the mic?
one thing about the removal of the spaces from, again, the puzzle or game perspective is that it has the potential to create ambiguity. And usually in a puzzle, that's not desirable because it's meant to lead to a single concrete answer. But in this game, there aren't really concrete, correct answers. So the ambiguity is kind of partly the point.
Ah, no! I hit the wrong button. Let me see if I can get to it. Comes from the same site as the brooch, the one Miari gave us on Iox. Having another artifact should be useful in locating it. What did you make of the sculpture, 6? A most curious item, mistress. It does not appear locally made. So I can go to my inscriptions. I would like to translate it, please. Getting used to the controls again. So here we have our entire selection of words that we've translated. That won't always be the case. But you can kind of see that the only thing in here we can match is holy. So that splits us into 3 potential words. So we've got a related words up there. It says buried, but the only thing it really seems to have in common are the first and last markers. So we can guess that this might be another verb. And all of those things do seem to be verbs. And as for this one, again, it looks a lot like water in terms of construction. Now, the word that we've called water has 2 squiggly lines, and I'm going to guess that this is ideographical. Oh no. Oh no. We've lost our image. There it is. Okay. Sorry. To be fair, I know this is ideographical, especially when you're comparing it to Egyptian hieroglyphs. What on earth? How do I get rid of that? Ugh. Sorry about that, chat. Looks like there's a bot. Anyway, so those 2 wavy lines look kind of like a river or water flowing. So here we have 3 lines sort of looking like they start at the top and come down and raise. So I'm going to guess that since it's comparable to water, I'm going to guess that it's the word for light. So that indicates shine or illuminate, probably. I'm going to go with shine. The meaning, the nuance of meaning between shine and illuminate is pretty ambiguous in English. Or Ioxian, I guess, since Ioxian seems to be what we're speaking. But when you think about something shining, it's a more sort of active action than illuminating, which can be to reveal. So I'm guessing that light would actively shine from somewhere. And also this is made of gold, which is shiny. So, okay. That's as close as it will let us get. Alright. So So, we have indications of a new unknown site. So where's the sculpture from? Iox? No, mistress. Different moons have different radiation signatures. I do not recognize this one at all. Has the sculpture been here for some time? Obviously it has, yes. How much higher? One more level, mistress. Do you recognize Renba if you saw him? Did you meet him? He activated me. I suspect that's why I've been assigned to you. Ah, there's the way up. Not many people for tending all these crops. Does not require constant husbandry. Good faith to you. My apologies, Aoxian. My pigs need me. Please, if you could just... Did I do something wrong? You came here. Perhaps that is all. Well, they don't seem to trust Iox. We must be at the top now. There should be a communal point somewhere. Locals don't seem surprised to see me. Or to see you. I imagine robots collect supplies routinely. They also note that they don't seem pleased to see you. More water. Just sitting here. Why did they build on stilts, you think? Surely it doesn't flood up here. The mud, perhaps? Or maybe animals sleep underneath? Ah, stranger. Greetings. Greetings to you. Welcome to Maercy. You have come to trade? It's a beautiful moon you have. It is wet enough for us, certainly. Perhaps you can help me. I'm looking for someone. Who? Not a Maercian, surely. We are alike as ants to you. That's not true. So you are looking for a Maercian? I'm hoping a Maercian can help me. We see strangers from time to time. Mostly they buy the rice. They think they pay well, but they don't. But there's no one here now who shouldn't be. Or there wasn't. Dun dun dun. Good luck with your search. They say the nebula is wide. Helpful. What did you make of Remba's brooch anyway, Six? The one he sent to Mayari? I was struck by the craftsmanship. It seemed very fine to me. An artisanal product. High status. How high status? Hard to say. Possibly very high. So it's valuable? Most likely. Mr. Shirley does not intend to sell it. No, the question is, where did Renba get it? And why did he give it to the professor? Talk to me. Can I... They're sandals. A book. Can I interact with them? No? It's a book. I want to read it. Mistress, if I may ask. You weren't rooting in the mud for lost roboticists. What would you be doing at this moment? Me sailing the uncharted reaches of the nebula looking for shipwrecks. There are places out there no one's been for hundreds of years. There are echoes of ancient voices. But no. Instead, I'm standing in Pitmuck. Otherwise, I'd be scouring the markets of Elbreth for interesting objects. Things have a life of their own, Six. Things survive. Things travel. Maybe I'd be in the library with Wang, reading up on old translations. When the Empire was founded, they threw out the old way of writing, erased it entirely. But it's still there. You just have to know where to look. You don't read ancient, do you? I would not know where to begin, mistress. Well. This place has proven somewhat unfriendly. Despite your cool manner, I'm extremely excited to be working for you. I've never left IX before. Oops. Got stuck. Ah, there's... Ugh. Stepped in something. Mud, mistress. Will your tracks cope with the mud? Of course they will. They clean themselves too. Our pig friend is sneaking up on us. Well, seems there are little brushes under my fuselage, you understand. Seems like we have seen what there is to see in this place, which is surprising. Definitely no robots here. No reason for Renba to come here at all. Don't imagine Renba met that woman on Iax after all. Let's go back to the ship. And with that, I think we are at a good stopping place for today, leaving the warm, wet fields of Mayersea. Thanks for coming along on this journey, and we will pick it up again next week when we go try and figure out where in the nebula we got these artifacts from. Have a lovely new year. Keep learning, friends.